¿Qué hubo, raza? Esto es Radio Chicanismo aquí con tu compa Chico González. Hoy en Independientes con Trucha Soul Records, con el compa Omar. Omar, un placer tenerte aquí con nosotros. ¿Por qué no te presentas? Tell us a little bit about your background and your first encounters with music.
Okay. ¿Qué tal? Desde Austin, Texas. I'm Omar Lozano. I'm a founder of Trucha Soul Records, a new cumbia label based out of Austin, which specializes in cool collaborations with musicians, and then in the future, hopefully some really good re-releases of regional strange cumbia music and Latin oddball music.
How do you get into music to begin with? Like, are you a musician yourself, or you're just a music lover?
Yeah, you know, I've always I've been collecting records since I was a kid. Through my mom, I learned a lot about cumbia and a lot of salsa and kind of Latin music through my mom, and then through my dad, more on the psychedelic rock tip. And I think I came out of that experience almost rebellious, like not really, you know, it's like if you grow up with Mexican food every day, like you have this pressure to be like, especially like on the frontera, to be like more like American and like to rebel against the stuff that maybe your parents taught you. And like, it's all been a journey of like finding my way back to those original sounds. Cause once you leave home, and you're in another place, or you get to travel around the world, you'll understand how that, como esa música te conecta, and how important it was. So I picked up that sort of side of it from them, and you know, even the name Trucha Soul like comes from my dad. It's something that he was like a Juarez street kid, and you know, came up on the border, and was just always like a tough but like respectful, like the generation after like zoot suit pachucos. He was like always with his pincitas on his pants, always like, you know, real nice, even though he didn't have a lot of money. But you know, his way of sharing affection was like it was more like tough love. So he'd always, you know, tell me, "Trucha, baby, when you're out in the street, Trucha, hey, like you watch, be careful." You know, it was never like, "Mijo, be careful." It was like be tough out there.
Yeah, ponte trucha.
Yeah.
No, and I think trucha is one of those words that are like really they're, you know, like when it comes to like Chicanismo and Pachuquismo and Caló, trucha is one of those words that is up there, you know, like, hey, trucha, trucha, you know, always.
Yeah.
So I really like that. When I first came up on you guys, I really like that the name trucha, you know, because it's like that word encompasses so many things, right? And you know, so I like that. One of the things that I just said, you know, like your dad grew up in Juarez, and then he came over here. I know you were telling me that you're from El Paso, and one of the things that I was talking to the previous label that I interviewed, Discos Resaca. It's a similar journey, right? Like coming back full circle to your life and the sounds that you first heard growing up. And I like that. I like that you are also on that tip, because you know la cultura cura. And one of the things that I was telling Disco Resaca is that right now they're like the epicentro de las cumbias, you know. But I also know that on your side, cumbias have been there for a long time, and they're always like really good musicians, right? When I think of Texas, I think of across the border. In Monterrey, there's a big cumbia scene, right? That came in the, you know, with Celso Piña and all those, ¿cómo se llama? Control Machete, Toy Selecta, todos sus compas. El gran Rigo Tobar, you know, from Matamoros, which is like right across the border from Brownsville. And I know that Corpus Christi is bumping right now with some cumbias, Cumbia King, Selena, and all that. And El Dusty is doing some good stuff. So, you know, you guys have your own cumbia movement going on over there in Texas. So I was really happy when I found you guys, and I right away I ordered your first pressing. which is pretty tight. But before we get into that, tell me a little bit about how you started your own label. What motivated you to start your own label? Say, you know what, we need a record label here in Austin that dedicates itself to Rasta music.
Yeah, for sure. I think like Austin is a really fantastic place. Like there's obvious disparities, and in the style of representation sometimes that you want to see. You know, I think there's a lot of like it's definitely been like historic displacement of brown folks. But I think really like I wanted to be what I didn't see in the community, and I wanted to sort of empower those types of musicians locally, or folks who or be able to work with like-minded venues and art galleries and spaces to sort of build that community in a way that reflects more of like what I want, and the type of experience that I think is sort of possible here. Like Austin is super popular globally, and definitely before all this this pandemic, there was a great deal of folks moving here, and instead of taking that like in a negative way, where people get real militant about uh, culture changing, I think in a way like we're all responsible on being able to sort of change that perspective, or welcoming people into understand, like I had a number of people who've bought records that have been like, hey, like we stumbled upon y'all playing at like Mexicarte Museum or like one of these spots, and like we just loved it. We'd never seen anything like that before. Like we're from wherever, and I think that's sort of like a big part of it, is like being that, making space for that type of representation, and then also like the way that sort of builds confidence as you go into other scenes. Like I work a lot like separately in like brand marketing and music marketing, and so I work in a lot of different subcultures, and have been through worked in every single type of genre you could imagine. But there's some genres that aren't like that welcoming, and I found myself in places, and at events where like it was more of like, oh, what are you doing here? Like, like you dress like you do. What are you doing here? Like at this big Americana festival, or like this big. So I think it was also for my sanity to like know that like, hey, like if you guys ever come here, like we'll show you this community with open arms, and like, and we have something to show for what that sounds like,
Cool. I'm glad that you're bringing like issues to the forefront. Um, like I was saying, with Disco Resaca, I was talking about gentrification, and you are alluding to that, the displacement of people, right? I know that Austin has this big festival, South by Southwest, and oftentimes, the representation is not there, right? And I'm pretty sure the community in Austin, there's a lot of raza there, but oftentimes they're not included, right? There is I belong here in Sacramento to a cultural arts center. It's called Soul Collective, and Soul Collective goes over there every year to do something, to put a showcase together, South by Southwest. And I remember like seeing like threads online about how people are coming to the neighborhood, and not being respectful and things like that. Have you seen that there while you were doing your thing in Austin?
Yeah, I think it's like kind of you got to think about like the way that Austin even like sort of became this place. It was the way it sort of developed into this type of cultural like hub that swelled, a few times a year for music, and I think that's been interesting. But you'll also see a lot of people not being able uh, to manage that representation. Plenty of people trying, but a lot of these events, creators, folks maybe not getting that type of support that they need to accomplish these types of events or showcases or but I think that it's just a logistical nightmare. Like I, I say that just because I come from a festival production background and managing that. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be folks that come here and that's part of the responsibility. I think it's like you do your best to like create this space so when people come to experience it, um, you know, hopefully you can show them that community. But yeah, I mean, are people going to be disrespectful when a global conference, turns into like a party versus like an educational, like music fan experience? And yeah, I mean, it's going to be all over the map.
Cool. So you were talking about Trucha, that the word Trucha on your label name comes from your dad growing up. Where does soul come from?
Soul, I think, was a way to like soften that type of like, because I mean, I grew up in government housing and shit, and I was like more of an introspective kind of kid. So like, uh, I really dug more into music. So I think it was trying to like really relate the idea of trucha to like record digging. Like me and my label partner, um, joking around. We'll be like at a record store and be like, "Oh, trucha! Like, look, that's where the Latin records are. Like, that's where and that's where the soul of." I also just didn't like in the future, like the label's just not just going to be cumbia. It's going to be. It also had some flexibility for the type of music. Like we want to look at Chicano soul. We want to look at fucking techno banda, like weird psychedelic, like indie, like it just also adds flexibility to that like hardness, because I'm not like a fucking street kid, but I'm the son of a street kid who took that passion for music and I think it comes more of like the awareness, like awareness of certain types of music and the soul in a lot of different types of Latin music and regional stuff around us.
Nice. Yeah, no, the el alma musical, no. So
Sí.
that's cool. And I like that you brought, like soul music because I know that's like near you in San Antonio. I mean, there was a big boom of soul music in the 70s, 80s, right?
Yeah.
In the Soundliners and a lot of groups over there that were doing the Royal Jesters. I think they're from there too. So you have the history there. So it'll be kind of cool to tap into some of that. Uh, what is the label's mission and vision? What do you hope to accomplish with what you're doing?
Definitely to provide more of that space. There's not really like a cumbia like physical imprint left, or anybody really investing into that side of stuff. But I think I look at some of the other amazing like re-release labels like whatever, like Mr. Bongo or like Big Crown or like some of these like larger labels that do a great job, but also at the end of the day it's like sort of British folks or like folks from another state coming in to like unearth this stuff that like locally or regionally nobody really gave a shit about. So I want to change that. I want to like have that sort of like Texas curated Texas experience, but also be able to sort of tell the life story and really just some of the more some of those like stories that have been forgotten, or some of the artists who have not received proper financial compensation, or really to work with places like different labels. It's just such a really to change the perspective of Texas as a musical hub, as somewhere where a lot of that type of music happened, where the San Antonio sound or the Valley sound and all these different labels produced an incredible amount of high quality music, and that Tejano music is globally relevant, and also to have a reason to travel, play, exchange records with people, and show them what we sound like.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool because yeah, you really need to. We have the saying in the Chicano movement, right? Del pueblo y para el pueblo. So oftentimes we have folks that don't have any any link to the music or to the people. um, the experience of like them producing the music for the public is not the same, right? Oftentimes it's like maybe like bringing the money, but it's not about like, you know, like you were saying about the soul. Um, Even though I have a lot of respect for people that have come and unearthed the music, like you were saying. For example, our Huli Records out of El Cerrito, they did a really good job into making Tejano music available to the greater public. But at the end of the day, I mean, the Mero Mero was a German dude, and it's like, what are like German dudes doing instead of us doing ourselves, right? But it's the lack of connection sometimes to the music, right? We grew up with that music, and we kind of don't value it as much. So a lot of us now, like you were saying, like you know, we're coming full circle when trying to like, you know, do something about it and try to promote the music and support the music, and eventually, you know, like put it out to the public. And you know, like we were like talking before we started recording, you know, you're not gonna like get rich out of this, right? And a lot of it is for the love of music. And I'm really happy that you're doing this in Texas. So far, I know you guys have one pressing by como las movies, la cumbia del monje o de los monjes, right there. And I'm an artist, bro. And when I saw that and the way it's like packaged, it's like really nice. So talk to us a little bit about the project, maybe who the artist is, como las movies too, and yeah, get us on that.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, Como las Movies is a really amazing project here. That is kind of like an indie rock band meets cumbia meets like Latinx style, like soul and this like kind of Latin soul in indie music. And I had I had mutual friends with the band leader Nelson, and I went to go see them. One of my friends dragged me out to go see them at a spot called Spider House, a venue called Spider House Ballroom here in Austin, and they played the A side off it, La Inconforme. Um, and I've always known that song. Obviously, as the Super the Grupo G, um, the like iconic Sonidero 2000s cult jam. I remember it like as they started playing it. They played it live, and it's the first time I'd ever seen them, and it just literally like reminded me of like being young at family parties and there being like mobile disco DJs with the crazy lights playing like a lot of this music. And I remember specifically being like asleep on like chairs, because my mom and dad were like, oh, we get to party, like we're all, we're here with our family, we get to party, it's a celebration. And I remember it being like way too late and like having to sleep like on chairs with like their jackets as blankets. But I remember that type of sound, that type of cumbia sonidera, like Tejano, like electronic Tejano music playing in the background. And that's really what I felt when I saw that song live. And I had sort of wanted to create to make a record, and so I approached them with it, and they ended up really liking. We just decided, like, why don't we just do it 2 songs by Super Grupo G, and we both had an affinity for Cumbia de los Monjes, which is just such a strange like cumbia song, like originally it's almost like a proto rap cumbia if you think about it. Something so strange and almost tacky that it's like hard to play out, We were like, oh, I wonder like if we can make this in a way that like takes all those good parts and softens that weird rap in order to make it a really cool instrumental song.
No, it sounds pretty tight. Like I said, the first time I saw that you were pre-selling it, and right away, I purchased it. I remember I left a comment ordenado. And one of the things that I noticed that you were doing is you were like promoting Cumbia de los Monjes a lot. But then recently you posted a post saying like, I need to keep some love to the other side. So tell us about that.
Yeah, for sure. I think we all agreed that the single should be Cumbia de los Monjes. But like, I think they both have such like DJ playability. I think part of the mindset in doing this was like, I want something I could play out as part of my crew. You know, as far this is Ike. Uh, he's the one that's been barking because he wants to go outside.
Jealous.
um, but yeah, so um, I lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
So the side B, that
Oh,
you were giving a lot of love to side A, but not side B.
yeah, they're both jammers. So I think I approached it as looking for tracks that would go uh, great on dance floors. You know, stuff that you can play la bajada or regular speed. So it's just been like that was mainly the focus and vision for that.
Chido.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about the homeboy Bobby Canuch. And like he posted on his page the song. He has a really good page called Discos Extraños, and he plays a lot of jams like that are like heavily like Oregon, driven. And I'm glad that you're also getting some love on the side B on that, because both of them are really good. I haven't posted them on my Instagram account, but it's coming out tomorrow or the day after, right after. Right before your interview, I'm gonna post it so people can like listen to it, and also like for people that they can order it too. So I'm gonna take us really quick to the website, and you can talk to us a little bit about the website and what they can order and prices and everything. Because one of the main things that I'm trying to do here too is trying to amplify, promote, and support. And we need to support independent labels like Trucha Soul Records. So you can keep giving us really good music. So I really like the logo. Tell us a little bit about the compas right here. I'm assuming this is you right here with the hat and the barba.
Yeah. So I think the project sort of started on a number of record digging trips to DF and like so that's obviously me on the right, and then on the left is my compa Lan, who is actually an archivist and started the Instagram account that's been featured on Remezcla. They're called ATX Barrio Archive.
Mm.
So we sort of bonded over this love of cumbia and like weird, Tejano music, and so we're just sort of like digging partners. We'll go look for records, and we also that sort of transitioned into we sort of started learning more about the like sonidero movement in DF and like the like golden era of a lot of that stuff and the sonideros out there and the way they did it and the sound systems and we were really interested in starting like one of Texas's like first sonidos, which is a long-term vision, but essentially we've been playing out, and the records we're going to release are sort of influenced by that style and paying homage to that um, to that sort of culture, and wanting to bring people together through the love of this type of Latin music. But this is essentially a band camp. We have the Cumbia de los Monjes 7-inch vinyl available for $9.99. We went in to the studio with the band in December 19, and it's sort of been a year in the works, trying to get this off the ground. And by the time I ordered the record, it was pressed by Gotta Groove out of Cleveland. Great. So it's the sound quality is just incredible on it. But who would have thought that in February we'd be in a pandemic, and been quite the experience pushing these copies. But everybody's been super supportive. There's been shops, in California and in different shops in Texas, and you can also find it on Independent Grand. For those of you who love to buy cumbia, Latin, and psychedelic reggae records, they got a lot of great stuff. So they've been kind of helping us out, push it in that region. But yeah, it's essentially a live psychedelic, real synthy take on some cumbia sonidero classics, guaranteed to make the dance floor burn in a really really awesome way. Sounds great with La Bajada. on 33 or lower for those of you who dig that style. And Como Las Movies has a bunch of other really amazing indie, Chicano, rock, soul tracks and some cumbia stuff. So definitely support those guys. I think we only have like, I don't know, maybe like 20 copies left, 30 copies left. So
Wow.
it's been moving fast. I think the idea is to have these very limited releases. I want to sort of create time capsule. There won't be any represses of this, and we'll keep it moving on to the next collaboration or in the future, hopefully some really great re-releases from some really amazing regional musicians from the past or present.
Cool. One of the things that I really like is I like the packaging. The labels on the 7 inches, like they're like really nice, two tone. With Trucha Soul Records in red, and it really pops. And I can tell that a lot of love went into like making the labels and also making the estuche. So can you talk to us a little bit about like the artwork and all that?
Yeah, sure thing. So um, the the cover art was done by a really amazing artist named Kat Barrera here out of Austin, Texas. Part of the important thing for me was in order to like really tell the story, is like to work with Chicano artists, to work with Mexican artists, to really have it sort of soup to nuts. As like a brown sound, a brown vision, um, and it actually started out as the idea for an animation. So if you go to the site, you can actually see, this. We had this idea of this based on her style. It's kind of like really cool, comic-y, but she does a lot of gig posters around town. So the idea was just to have a brown couple listening to cumbia records in their bedroom, and she did a great job with the colors. And on the back, the layout was done by a good friend of mine, Rene Caldenas, who's an awesome graphic design artist. And yeah, I think we just wanted to make it soup to nuts, working with local creatives to amplify the project and the significance of it, and to make sure that we're leaning towards folks that look like us.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I like the capo chilling on a sarape, the velas right there, el disco and the tornamesa, the nopales, and I really like the artwork within the artwork. The
Yeah,
the micrófono, la Virgen de Guadalupe, el güiro, el acordeón, and I know that you did a post on it too about like the different elements on the painting.
yeah, those are kind of to us the sort of centerpieces of cumbia and sonidero culture, and I think especially cumbia de los monjes. For those of you who haven't heard it, it just sound it's like basically like a really heavenly cumbia, and we also have a lot of love for the Virgen. So we did a really cool Virgen celebration for the 16 de diciembre last year, where we did a cool. I'm also a photographer, so we did some photos from the first time. Me and Alan actually went to the Basilica in Mexico City, and just a lot of the pictures that we took from there, and then we sort of structured it as a spiritual trip, to ask the Virgen for permission to start a record label.
Nice.
So I want to say that she blessed us, and also helped us find what we were looking for out there, and all the right connections, and all the right encouraging voices to continue to head down this path, especially when cumbia isn't like. I think what encouraged me the most was like just the global community of collectors, that made it seem feasible. It's like, okay, well, there's at least like 20 people I know that are going to buy the record. So maybe I won't lose my ass on it. And it ended up being really awesome and successful, and I'm looking forward to continuing to amplify those voices and different projects and folks here locally, but also around Texas and around La Frontera.
How big is the edition? How many 7 inches were pressed?
200.
200. Oh, so it's a small edition.
Yeah, so it's it's definitely something that you're gonna want to get your hands on.
Mm-hmm.
And also another update, like we got more picture covers, so you can buy with confianza, that you'll get a cool insert.
Nice.
Yeah,
Like, so I was just reading right here, picture cover version sold out. So
yeah,
you're putting more in.
yeah. We're good and ready to ship out with those, so no
Cool.
worries there.
No, I really like it, and it's funny how, like, this whole collection or collecting records is right, because sometimes um, I'm a big record collector. I don't have a like I have maybe like 2,500 records,
Yeah,
LPs and 45s. I know people that have like warehouses full of records,
yeah,
but I'm very selective on what I get,
for
and
sure.
I was talking to one of my homies. I'm a big Chalino Sanchez fan. I grew up in San Luis Rio Colorado, Sonora, Mexico, in the border. Narco land, right?
Yeah,
You're from El Paso, so you know what I'm talking about. Juarez. So like I collect Chalino, and I remember like 2 years ago I got some Chalino 45s for $3.50 on
yeah.
discount, and right now they're like 125, 150.
Oh
On
yeah,
Subasta, they're like up to like 200, 200 plus, right?
yeah.
An LPO Chalino that I got for 200 sold like for $600.
Oh
So
my
what I'm
God.
getting to is I just posted a record on my Instagram from Mariposas del Alma from Disco Resaca,
Uh-huh.
and I think I got it for like, I don't know, 8.99, around $10. And a homie hit me up and said, "Hey, you have an extra copy?" I'm like, "No," because I'm looking for an affordable copy. And I went on Discogs and it's $80, bro.
Yeah.
So the point that I'm trying to make is that Trucha Soul Records made 200 disquitos. So you better get one now at $9.99, because if you want one later, it's gonna be like $80 on Discogs. So
Well,
Trucha.
I think so. That's how we'll know we'll be on the other side of that market and be envious of those people getting more than $10 for it. But yeah, it's absolutely true. I think locally here, I play as a DJ separately. Same name, Kid Monks. I go by DJ Kid Monks, but a lot of what I play is like more in the disco boogie funk realm, and like I'm good friends with some of the label owners here, like Austin Boogie Crew, and collect a lot of those, like boogie records. I think that's a big part of Chicano culture too, especially like in Orange County, a lot of those like more, more Chicano SoCal and Bay Area kind of places. But just seeing the way the market works with those records, like, and how with like I sort of saw that coming in Latin records. I think a lot of the collectors, especially now, are understanding like how rare this stuff was. How rare some of these like records you inherited from your parents, or ones that you picked up at some of these other shops are actually very limited in quantities.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's the hope. And for those of you out there, like it's actually more costly to print limited. Per unit, it actually hurts the producer and the label more, unless you sell them for like an unreasonable amount. So it's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice, selling records in limited quantities. So
But it makes it more special though, because you know that only 200 homies have it, or 199 homies have it, and you're
yep,
one of them. You're one of the few. So you wanna, as a record collector, you want yourself a copy.
yeah,
So and if we know that they're only like limited quantity, then you're gonna be waiting for the next release. And I don't think people know that. So there's only 30 left, people. So come and
yeah,
get yours. Uh,
yeah.
and in the
Sure.
future, do you hope to keep on doing limited editions like that, like 200,
Yeah,
or?
I think so. Unless it just depends on the project, I guess. Some of the stuff that we're looking to put together. Um, I think, based on realistic ability, especially during a pandemic, and maintaining uh, you know security financially, like it's a huge investment, each record. So I think it's just going to be a slow play, and working to get new folks involved, and depending on the project, I don't anticipate ever going over 500,
Mm-hmm.
uh, just based on the fact that I do want to keep it limited. I do want it to be special, and it does feel good when you are one of only a handful of people who have the ability to listen to something on a physical medium like that. So it was definitely always a dream to be able to produce that and give that to people.
And another thing that I find like really interesting is like you were saying, you went, you listened to como las movies play, and then you all went to the studio and recorded it. So it's kind of like like it's like from the ground up, right? It's not like you are like they already had it and it was like ready to go, but it's like a whole project from like the very beginning to now. And you were telling me that that's one of your goals to do, but you're also uh, willing to re-release something from the past, and I think that's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, definitely. I think this was like a really great opportunity to like uh, get my feet wet in it and understand like really the processes in the cycle. I think I've worked a lot with different collaborations in my in more of my other life and my full-time roles, but I've never sort of had the personal stakes in it, which has been which has been really interesting and special. But yeah, uh, I think anybody can do it. If I can do it, um, you just need a little bit of money and to have really the story that you can when things don't go exactly the way that you want them to know that there's sort of a story in place, and there's meaning, and there's a really like a strong um, thing that you're trying to do, um, to show people and to help them feel um, connected in the style of music that they might have grown up with in a different new way.
Chido. Why don't we play the rola so they can hear it, and hopefully they'll get more motivated to come in and purchase one of those last 30 ones.
uh, Dale, thank you.
Here we go.
Vamos a bailar, vamos a bailar la cumbia. Vamos a bailar, vamos a bailar la cumbia.
Let's go this part right there.
La cumbia llena mi vida. Solo bailando cumbia tranquilo puedo estar. La cumbia llena mi vida. Solo bailando cumbia
Chingona la rola, bro. Suena muy bien.
Gracias.
I really like the, when the organ comes in, that part is pretty tight. Uh,
Yeah.
I feel some elements of like, cumbia peruana, like chicha. It sounds really cool, like psychedelica,
Oh yeah, with the guitar, the driven guitar parts. I think even like on Inconforme on the other side, instead of the kind of rap and verses, it's all done with guitar and with synthesizers. So we thought that was a cool take on that.
And como las movies, I'm reading here that they're from Austin, and the main dude is Nelson Valente Aguilar. He's the band leader. Uh,
Yep.
all of them Tejanos, Chicanos.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think they're all Tejano. I believe the drummer Greñas is maybe from Monterrey, and then I think Nelson himself is from the Valley. I think he might be from McAllen, and
Órale.
Renee, the guitarist, is from Austin, and Jeff El Jaguar, the Jaguar, with the hat, and the bassist. Yeah, I think he's from San Antonio, if I'm not mistaken.
Órale.
Yeah.
Puro Tejano ahí. So they can go in, if you like the rola, you can go and order, yourself a copy at comolasmoves.bandcamp.com. So you can order it there. No, it sounds really cool, man. I'm gonna start the sharing so we can like keep on talking. So what is coming up, bro? What's next for Trucha Soul Records? You got something lined up already?
Yeah, nothing I could really talk about that's super confirmed, but we have our feelers in a lot of different pots. I think we're looking at potential 45 Chicano soul, but soul funk, two-sider, as well as some potential uh, projects in more of the psychedelic cumbia live bands side, to potentially working with hopefully some local legends here from some of the major hubs like San Antonio. Yeah, definitely it's kind of interesting. It's just definitely like feelers until something catches. Like learning a little bit more about tracking down people and masters and rights. So
Yeah.
in order to reproduce a record and just learning a bit every day. I think I'm a student when it comes to this, so I'm definitely taking in uh, all the new processes in the cycle of dropping a record, but also I think I'm on the marketing and look and feel side, and and DJ playability side. I think that's more of my strength, but a lot of the processes and have been a really fun and challenging learning curve to get something out like that.
And just I know that you're not able to like give us something concrete, but like, do you have like a timeline? Like how often you wanna like release something?
Yeah, I think we'll probably look to see something new, hopefully by spring next year, and hopefully see 2 releases next year. Probably keep it to 2 or 1 releases a year that are super limited, and then in the meanwhile, be working on different, custom merch ideas, more projects that are, sort of involving like Chicano artists, more storytelling, even for stuff that we're maybe not releasing, but really digging deep into some of the figures who might have who history might have passed through and who made a significant impact on Tejano music as a whole. And other than that, like we're focusing on building like a retro sonido, so like a retro sound system, cumbia sound system. So right now, learning a little bit more about different parts of different components of building that type of sound, and especially in the ways that we've seen in Defe and in Puebla and like all these spots where they have these amazing truckfuls of equipment. We want to make a little sound system that we can call our own, and to be able to sort of showcase that culture here and pay homage, and also have a sound system that can also work in different areas, you know, for different kinds of DJs that are, you know, Latin DJs or psychedelic DJs or record collectors, and invite guests. So um, that's sort of what we're working on for the next year.
No, that's really cool, man. I was telling Wilson from Discos Resaca that sometimes me pierdo on YouTube just looking at videos from from the F, from the Pito and the sound systems and all that. And yeah, I know they have like a semi truck, and somehow they break it apart, and that's like the stage.
Yeah.
So it'll be pretty exciting if you guys were able to do something like that over there in Texas.
Wow, man, that's definitely the inspiration. But you know, especially some of the more retro sound systems, like Sonido El Pato or
Mhm.
Sonido Fascinación, like just like the way that they like bring people together through music, through this community type of sound, like that. That's the experience that we want to create here. Um, you know, eventually when people can gather, you know, this might be some good times to to look at the light way ahead, and think about better times when we can listen to cumbia together.
Cool. What are some of the feedback that you have received that has really encouraged you to keep on going forward?
Yeah, I think it's been you know, a lot, everything from like the label and logo like art. You know, we worked with Claudia Gamundi, who goes by Bodega Visual. She runs a really amazing uh, one of the real cool hubs for Chicano like DIY art. They have a space. That's where we usually throw our parties. It's in East Austin. You know, amidst all the changes and all the new buildings, like it's cool to upset their neighbors with some loud ethnic music, as they would call it. Uh, um,
What's the name
but
of the space?
it's called Nepatla USA.
Oh, okay, sí, he escuchado.
Yeah, so it's cool. They do a lot of really dope art stuff and educational stuff. It's like a really cool community hub for that's like basically like a big barn. You know, it's like it's really cool. But other than that, just like a lot of great feedback on the visual art, on the cover, on you know, from folks all over. You know, especially folks that I really respect. Um, and the sound quality in terms of what I've heard has been incredible on different people's systems. I'm always like, tell me how it sounds. You know, like tell me, especially folks that I'm just like, you know, that I respect, who are out there hustling and playing out. Like I want to know what they think, and a lot of the DJ in the DJ circles, you know, in here and in California and in the Bay and different spots have been like overwhelmingly positive. So, you know, I'm glad that the first time around was you know, a moderate success. So I'm really grateful for that type of feedback and yeah, just to be able to continue to share music.
Yeah, man. No, you're doing good, man. You and your partner. You know, like that you were mentioning. You know, this first release is fire, bro. So I hope that you know, you continue to give us some great music like that. And I'm gonna really keep an eye on your Instagram account for the pre-sales and all that. And for anybody else that want to follow them, they can follow you.
They can follow us at Trucha Soul on Instagram and truchasoul.bandcamp. Yeah, those are our two places for now. You can also find us on Independent Grand. Support those guys too. They're the ones behind NYC Trust, another great label, and actually one of the inspirations for even getting involved in the business in general. Just the way that they were managing it and doing it was really awesome. It felt like it was accessible versus something.
Anything else that you want to tell anybody that is watching Independientes?
Uh, Thank you all for supporting and stay trucha.
Chido. Ay, muchas gracias, Omar. Un placer tenerte aquí en Radio Chicanismo. Raza, pónganse trucha. There's only 30 copies left, so get yours. Peace out.